Hey everyone, good evening. There's still few spots left up front, so if you are interested in sitting, then go ahead, take those seats. Thank you very much for being here today. We have got plenty of people here, both here in person, so thanks for being here, and online. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm Filip. I'm your today's host, and I'm really glad to see so many people. Like, we haven't had this many people on a crew talk yet, so it's usually like 70 people, and right now looks like 100. So we structured tonight, so it's not just lectures, but it will be a bit interactive. So after every talk, there will be a Q&A, and I will go down to you and hand you the microphone, and you can ask any questions you'll have. And for you on the stream, there is a Slido link right there. You will see it during the whole presentation in the bottom right corner. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask. So I bet most of you already know uplifting, but since many of you might not, allow me to have a few words why this topic is so important to me. I don't usually have these introductions here on Crew Talks, but this topic is really like close to my heart, and that's because, well, in uplifting we make digital products from end to end, like from discovery phase to through implementation and deployment, scaling to millions of users, and AI has changed a lot about what we do, and I see this like both day to day and project wise, and me personally, I haven't written like manually a line of code in its months really, and basically most of our projects already include AI as part of the product when it makes sense, of course, because sometimes it just doesn't. And therefore we wanted to dedicate this evening to this change that's happening, and we wanted to have experts here on every aspect of AI. And first, we'll have a talk by David from DX Heroes, and he will focus on AI training of people and how to deliver the value to people who use AI day to day. And in the second part, we'll have a talk by Jakub from Colors of Data, and Colors of Data are experts in applying AI to projects and to companies, and to make sure that the companies get value from it. So we'll have both the human perspective and the, let's call it, corporate perspective. So without any further ado, let's have a warm welcome for David Omrai from DX Heroes. So stage is yours, David.
It's ready. So, hello, my name is David Omrai, and since about a year ago, I had the opportunity to be part of a team designing and running AI workshop for one of our clients from banking sectors, for the data analyst teams, about 20 people for each run. Since then, we did multiple sessions, and mainly focus on delivering and extending the AI usability for this team in day-to-day work life. And also the main goal is to help them incorporate a GitHub Copilot in Visual Studio Code to their work. We designed this workshop into two parts. The first part is mainly the AI basics, where we focus the limitations of AI, how they are built, what they can do with it, and how can utilize it through their browser in their work. And the second workshop is focused on AI tools, we follow the first one and extend the knowledge about the AI and introduce the new AI tool and how they can use it in their work. What we came there with the first time, we wanted to give them a strong foundation about the AI, how they are built, how they are designed, what each part, building block of these AI tools do, like embeddings, tokenization, and other. We demonstrated a prompting and wanted to share with the attendees how they write prompts. So we designed a custom AI chatting tool. And we provided some tasks and solutions we thought were correct for their work, in their work. What was the reality? There was a gap between what we thought they would need and what they found relevant. We used text that were like articles and other stuff that wasn't something they would use in their work. There was no inspiration to use these tools because we introduced a new AI chat tool that wasn't available then after the workshop was done. And attendees prefer the L2 workshop where we show the AI tool. So why was there a problem? The main problem was there is no relevance for the first run, and that is we use our AI chatting tool and on some basic data, which is also why there was no access to this tool afterwards. And these people usually come to these workshops with distrust for AI because they fear it can take their jobs and it's not as good as they think it is because they don't have the good previous. So, what was our evolution in these workshops? I can summarize it into 3 steps. The first one was theory heavy, and the data we used for these workshops wasn't really relevant. So in the second one, we use better data. They would meet in their work for the second workshop, but the first one was still a bit basic. So the people still preferred the second round of the workshop. And in the final part of the workshop, we also focus on the first run and delivered relevant usage on AI tools they have access to in their work. So what were some lessons that we learned through these workshops? The first one is know your audience before you design the workshops. You can get the knowledge about the team you are that will attend your workshop through their boss or through the position, but it usually is it's not so straightforward what they will really meet in their work life. So it's usually better to send them some form or get some information from them to design the relevant workshop. The second lesson that we learn is to get to know your attendees that day you have the workshop. It's good to know what people will come to your workshop, what are their expectations, what is their expertise, what they fear or what they want to help with in their work life. So you can then design better the workshop itself that day, or you can pinpoint some people that may have problems during the workshop. The third lesson learned is to exercise, design exercises that require thinking and not only moving some data and rely on the AI to do the whole work. On the first workshops we did, that we provided both the task and the solution, because we wanted to give them after the workshops the whole package, so they would have the relevant data. But what the people usually do in GitHub Copilot was they provided both the task and also the solution, so they didn't really get any relevant knowledge from this workshop, and they usually one-shot the solution. It's good to start with some warm-up basics to know how the tools can be used, what are, how can they use the tools, and then build up on these parts and follow the task progressively to the more advanced tasks they would meet in their work life. The third lesson learned was that to teach thinking patterns and not formulas. When talking about prompting, not just mentioning there is some framework that they can use, or they fit some data into, like persona and other parts, but to make them think what they want to incorporate into these prompts. Like, what is the domain you want the answer from? What is the expertise? What is the format? Or what are the relevant data that will help the model with the result? And when talking about the concepts of AI, it's always good to mention something they already know. Like for context window, you can fit into context window about a book length of text. But the problem with that is, as we do, the relevant information won't be remembered by the model. Minor things from the beginning of the book it wouldn't cover the minor things from the beginning as we do, so it would hallucinate. And when talking about embeddings and other stuff, it's good not to talk about the mathematic terms, but something they would understand. Like you can take queen minus royalty, and you would get a woman, and that's some concept they would understand that is in these LM models. The fifth lesson learned is that one facilitator is not enough. Because when there is only one person that's leading the workshop and maybe wants to change the subjects or want to prepare another part of the workshop, there would be maybe silence, and it's also the attendees are more focused on the presentation when there are two people that iterate through each other. And also why two attendees are better, or minimum two attendees, that one is the one leading the presentations or the workshop, and the second one can roam through the class and help with problems that the attendees might have. And also, it's better when there is roaming support, that the people are forced to work or focus on the workshop itself. Because when there is a theory, that usually people want to take their phones or do other stuff. So it's good to have some person not forcing them, but making them want to focus on the subjects that is presenting. And the second lesson learned, and maybe the most important one, is to give the participants or the attendees know what they should bring, maybe a computer or phone, what they shouldn't bring, maybe personal data and other stuff, and what they need to install, and also what they need to have, like licenses, because in some corporations, the licensing process may take a week to obtain. So it's good to mention they should request it now. And for the facilitators, it's good to have prepared the backup plan. What if the AI tool won't work? What if the attendees will have some problems that they didn't see? So it's good to prepare all these things. And also it's good to know the venue and the classroom and the classroom. So if only one person is necessary, or if a speaker is required, microphone and other stuff. So that's always good to do like a week or a few weeks before the workshop runs. And what was the result after we incorporated all these things to the workshop? We extend the reliability of the first workshop where we introduced the AI as well. We increase the demand. There isn't, in our workshops, there isn't free space, and usually we have people wanting to join above the limitation of the classroom. We also get feedback. They use our tools or what we cover in this workshop in their work life. And we also have talks about following workshops to present other tools that we implement for these clients. So this is my presentation. Thank you for your and if you have any questions, I will be glad to answer them.
Nice, great presentation. But before I give word to our audience, I have a question. Do you have any data that describes like if there is any increase in performance after these workshops?
From their boss, we know they use more, or they started to use the AI tools that we presented, or the boss wanted them to utilize in their work life. So based on that, we know that use these tools more in their work.
Thank you. And there's one question on Slido, or rather two questions, which is pre-workshop preparation slide says that you should tell attendees what not to bring. So what are some examples of that?
Oh, well, one of the examples may be the client's data or the data they shouldn't provide to the AI tools that are not safe to use in their, or doesn't have the license for internal data, or maybe like their own food, because to bring them to the computers, or based on the venue limitations or something like that. So.
Sounds like there is a story behind that. Anyway, thanks. And another question is if there is a free way to use AI. I checked Ollama, but free LLM looks a little outdated.
Yeah, so free way to use the AI, maybe the free license from like a ChatGPT, OpenAI, Claude, and other. But if you want to use a safe AI, there is an option like LM Studio where you can install your local models, or Ollama, or other. And if you want to use it, Gemma is a great model, and also the OSS by OpenAI are pretty good.
Thank you. So, who has any questions? Anyone? Right.
Hello. I was just going to ask, for your first initial workshops and audience, like who were the people that you had outreach to or that were taking you up on those options? Who were your first audience members that were going to those first workshops?
Yeah, so we straight went to the data analysts, first part of the teams, and went straight to them. So there wasn't some testing audience or other. We went directly to the teams.
Thanks. Any other questions? Anyone? I do not see any other questions. If there are any, just shout out. Okay. In that case, David, thank you very much for the lovely presentation. And
thank you as well.
Right. So we have seen how AI companies how companies can use AI to boost people's performance. And now Jakub from Colors of Data will tell us more about how to use AI to deliver some insights which are viable for business to increase their value. So, Jakub, go ahead when you are ready.
Oh, come on. Cool. Can you hear me? Yeah. Great. So I'm glad to see so many. Oh, wow. I didn't realize how many people are here. So many people standing. It's crazy. So I'd like to talk a little bit about how we at Colors of Data developed a virtual data scientist, if we may call it that. But first, who is Colors of Data? We are a fairly small company of about 25 experts on AI, business intelligence, CRM, and data. We operate in projects in 9 different countries for many big clients, many big names like Škoda Auto, Volkswagen, Rohlík, etc. And how did it all start in terms of AI agents? When I started at the company about a year ago, the first day was Monday, and on Tuesday I got a call from one of the senior managers in the company who asked me whether I could prepare a virtual data scientist in 2 days because he's giving a talk and he would like to present the virtual data science agent there, right? So naturally what happened was panic, it was actually my first time hands-on implementing an AI agent. I'm a data scientist, but I haven't implemented an AI agent before that. So what I thought was the right approach here was to start using some framework that already exists, right? Not develop everything from scratch. And I started using N8N. Anyone knows N8N? Do we have anyone here from N8N? Well, it's a tool similar to Make. Do we have anyone from Make.com? No, that's good because this is N8N. So this is what it looks like when you try to develop an AI agent in a framework that's basically no code. In order to do that, you don't really have to write any code, maybe a little bit of JavaScript, but that's all. And it looks approximately like that. It looks a bit messy, but I will explain what's going on there. And this is the main idea that we had. What we wanted to do was to have sort of a master agent that you would ask a question. That master agent could reroute that question to a specialist that's a specialist for that particular question. And then the specialist would return an answer, and that's it. So in theory, how this would work is you ask a question like, what are the sales trends over the last 4 weeks? The router understands, all right, this is a question for the sales specialist agent, right? So I just reroute the question to the sales specialist, and the sales specialist realizes that he needs to get data from the database in order to answer the question. So, get the data. The sales specialist now has the data, so uses Python to analyze the data. Now it has the answer to that question and returns the answer to the master agent, and the master agent says, thank you, sales data specialist, and replies to the user with the correct answer, right? So this was the theory, what went on in practice. So the beginning's pretty much the same. You ask a question, you have the master agent, you have the specialist, you have the the query which retrieves the data, and then boom, suddenly it stops working. And what's happening here? Well, there are two possible things that may happen here. One of them is costly, and one of them is just not working. And what's going on is that in these frameworks, when you retrieve data from a database, you show all the data to your LLM, to the model, right? So basically what it's doing is like retrieving 60,000 rows from the DB and just pasting everything into the chat window of the LLM. That's pretty much it. And this is going to obviously break down because usually you want to retrieve quite a lot of data for analysis, but every time you retrieve the data, you have to show it to the agent, to the LLM, and this is just too much for the context window. And you can realize what's happening here. If it's not too much for the context window, you are just paying for all the tokens that you are putting into the LLM, right? So, and with every action that the agent performs, you pay for the same amount of tokens. So it's like $5, $5, $5, $5. So at best, you can hope that it actually overflows the context window quite early on. So this obviously didn't work. So we switched to something more robust, which was Google Agent Development Kit. This is an SDK. This is basically a Python library that you can use to develop AI agents. And we needed a front end for that. And for us, this was Streamlit. And if you see data apps in practice, usually what you see on the front end is actually Streamlit. So this seemed like a very natural choice. And as for the data agent, it worked in a very similar way. We had this master agent, but it was defined in code. It had some memory for the data. It was stored in something that's more usable than just a huge chunk of data pasted into the LLM. And it could use Python on top of that. In theory, we expected something like that. Everything is nice. The AI agent works. It returns data that you want to analyze. In reality, it kind of worked, actually. The problem here was that Streamlit is not really great at doing a lot of things in parallel. And the idea here is that in the background, the agent is doing a lot of stuff, sending lots of queries, etc. And when you use Streamlit, it actually doesn't work. So the lesson here was, well, it was kind of working. The front end was bad. So what did we do? Well, we wrote our own front end completely from scratch. That's made exactly for the kind of agents that we are trying to develop. And I'm glad that I can actually show you a little demo. It's just a video because we know it's very dangerous to show live demos in presentations. So it's just a video. And the way it works is that you have this sort of dashboard. Here you have a text box where you can enter your question. You have all your past questions saved down there. So let us enter a question here. Well, first of all, obviously, we also had some connectors over there. Most of them are fake. We did not really implement them, only a few of them, the ones we needed for the demo. Right, so we wrote the question about what are some trending categories. The master agent there on the right is actually now thinking about the answer to that question, and it understands that it has to ask a follow-up question in order to reply correctly, so it does need to know the category and the time frame, so you write that. Oh, and by the way, the data here that we have, it's Marks and Spencer written here. It's with the permission of Marks and Spencer, the data is actually obfuscated. It's like based on the data, but you cannot find anything real in there. So if you're hoping that you will know what the profit margin of Marks and Spencer is, this is not it. Right, so what the agent is doing, and we can't see anything because the contrast is not really good, but here is a really long SQL query. The agent retrieved some data. We actually put quite a lot of effort into building this interface, so you can even click on the columns and sort the rows in the columns and stuff like that. right? And the agent is working, it's analyzing, it's running some Python in order to get some trends. It can also produce charts that it shows to the user. And it's doing other things in the background as well. Actually, there was another folder here on the left which contains some reports, some partial reports that the agent actually created. So this worked, which is nice. It didn't work immediately. Well, the first problem was that the agent did not understand the data well. There were lots of tables, not understand the data well. What did we do? First, we had to describe the data to the agent. This is something called semantic model. So we created a semantic model. We had sort of our own proprietary approach to creating that model. And once we did that, the agent actually worked quite well. So why is the presentation titled like fuck-ups that we met along the way? Well, there were several issues. And the most critical issue here was the way the agent worked with data. Because even though we wrote a very complex description of the agent should be doing, almost every single time after a few runs, what would happen is that the agent just writes a wrong SQL query and gets a huge amount of data. Right, so it writes a query to download like 100 gigabytes of data from a huge table. And what happens when you download so much data? Well, obviously, we did not put the agent into a machine that has 100 gigabytes of RAM, so it just runs out of memory. And that's bad, not only because the analysis itself doesn't work, but because it kills all the analyses that are running on the same server, on the same machine, for all the users, and the app is intended to be used by many users in parallel, so this basically kills the user experience for everyone. And to be honest, we analyzed the issue, and this would be quite difficult to solve if we wanted to build a fully custom solution on top of the backend that we created. There is one more issue that we were trying to solve, and this is security, because again, the users should not all see the same data. The users should have different permissions. Some users should see financial data. Some users shouldn't see financial data. So obviously, what you can try is to try to put that in the prompt, right? Like, this is the user that can't see financial data, so absolutely do not show the financial data to that user. This doesn't work. We saw how that worked for downloading the data and instructing the agent not to download anything big. It did it anyway. So this absolutely wouldn't work, and you have to do it via some credentials management and permissions management in the database, which honestly turned out to be quite tedious if you want to do that properly and sort of semi-manually, because there is really no other way. So how did we solve that? Well, this is the solution. Basically, we outsourced everything that's really difficult to Databricks, because Databricks, I don't know if you know the technology, there are technologies like Databricks, Snowflake, basically big data technologies, and those big vendors have basically already solved all these issues. In our defense, when we started developing the agents, many of these abilities that Databricks has weren't really there yet. They weren't existing, or they weren't good enough at that point. But over time, what we realized was, well, at some point, Databricks basically solved all the issues that we have around governance, about semantic modeling, about even the user interface, actually. So what we decided to do was basically to pivot and to change the solution to building custom agents on top of Databricks instead of a fully custom solution. The question there is, since we did not actually use the solution, was it worth it to develop it? And I would say absolutely it was worth it, because we learned a huge amount along the way. Right, all the things about governance, all the things about performance, even how to structure your agents, how to structure the sub-agents, etc. that was a nice ride. I really enjoyed that. So absolutely, this was worth it. Would we do it again? Well, probably not, right? Like, there are already solutions. There is a company that's valued at like $100 billion. We are probably not going to be able to make a solution that works better than theirs, right? So we probably wouldn't do it again. But again, it was a lesson for us that when there is a better way of doing things, we shouldn't stay too invested in the current solution just because we spent time developing it, and that we should pivot and just do the right thing at the given moment, right? And we did exactly that. We pivoted towards Databricks. Will we throw everything away? Probably not. The front end that I showed you, I'm actually really fond of it. We really like it, so we might reuse that one, but we will probably not try to develop anything else in terms of governance and distributed data calculation, etc. Right? And that was it. So are there any questions?
Thank you, Jakub. I will again steal some of your time for myself. My question is, and I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask, how did you develop the partial solutions? Did you wipe code it?
It's a very good question. We tried to wipe code it, actually, but it didn't really work because, well, the agentic frameworks that we used were pretty new, and the vibe coding solutions, the vibe coding agents like Claude Code, etc., didn't really understand the solutions. So when you try to vibe code it, usually you just get frustrated, you debug it for 3 days, and then you give up and write it from scratch because it just didn't work. I think that currently it would be possible to do that better because there are many different solutions like Context 7 and stuff like that, which allow the coding agents to access up-to-date documentation, but at the time we were developing that, the solutions did not really exist. So yeah, we tried to vibe code it, but we weren't successful at that.
How long was the journey you introduced to us? Was it 2 days, as you?
Yeah, the beginning was 2 days. Then the second phase with the new interface, that was like 3 months. And then the Databricks journey is going on since then, basically.
Thank you. So are there any questions in the room? Anyone?
You're showing us the Genie spaces, right? You
Mm-hmm.
mentioned Databricks help for semantic modeling. Can you talk about a little more on that? Like how Databricks helped for semantic modeling?
Yes, so basically what is a semantic model? It's just a really good description of your data structure, right? And what constitutes a really good description is questionable, but Databricks has a particular approach, which is kind of opinionated, but I believe it's really good. And what it does is that basically you describe every column in every table you have. You also describe the table itself in human words, in English, right? And the description is specific for a particular use case. That's very important. That, for example, when you are a user who wants to look at the data from the financial point of view, you may want to use a different description than if you are a user who optimizes an e-shop where you just need to know like the transactions in terms of what's happening in the eShop, right? So what you do is that you have a particular use case, particular type of user, basically, usually, and you describe the data for that user, and then you have many different types of descriptions added to that. You describe how to join the tables between themselves. You can give predefined functions to retrieve predefined data sets from the data to the AI engines, stuff like that. So this is basically the semantic model that you define in Databricks.
So Databricks help to write this description, or this is a human work, right?
Well, what's really good about that is how you govern all of that, right? Because yeah, it's human work, absolutely. This is still human work. Databricks can help with that. You have like an assistant AI agents within Databricks that can help with that. However, this is mostly human work for the experts in the particular business field where you want to create the semantic model. And what's good is that Databricks has a really good interface for that, because when we were writing the semantic model ourselves, it was basically a set of many MD files where we had a semi-automatic way of describing the model. Whereas in Databricks, we really have a nice interface where you can define the semantic model. And also what they are really good at is taking all that information, taking all the descriptions and joins, etc., and making a single prompt out of that then the AI agent gets. Because in the end, all the time, when you have such an AI agent, there is just one single prompt at the start before the agent starts running. So you have to take all that description of those tables and sort of provide that to the agent in a compact form that the agent can then use in order to retrieve the data, right? So that's also the added value of Databricks, that they can combine what you entered through the UI into the prompt.
Right. Any more questions? Anyone?
You might have said it already, but what models did you try to use?
Sorry, what else?
What models?
Models. Oh yeah, we tried all of them. Yeah, we tried, like, obviously all the three big ones. So from OpenAI, different models, Anthropic, Claude. Now we are primarily using Gemini because we are mainly on Google's ecosystem and Google Cloud. But when we did that, we actually used we tried all of the different models, and some are better at something, some are worse at something. And actually, this is one of the things that we sort of implemented, that we tried to run the same analysis several times with different models, and then have one summarizer agent which would take all these different analyses from the different models and would decide which information is best and would combine it into a single source of truth.
Can you share like what time frame was it, or like what version of the model? Like
wow, yeah, I could definitely find that in the repository, but yeah, it was basically the first half of the last year mainly.
Yeah?
The development happened mostly during the first half of 2025.
Thank you. I think that was.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. So my question is how you separated the data or protected the data in front of the LLM, because I believe that you cannot like give the data if there is like an anonymization or pipeline between the agent. And my second question is if you used on backend one agent, or it was more like more agents with orchestrators and so on. Thank you.
Right. For the first question, I would say that the answer is that actually we never needed any kind of sensitive data for the analysis that the agent was running, right? So we just did not include those in the data sets. So there was no personally identifiable information or anything like that, right? And in terms of like the not so sensitive data, I would say what was enough for us is that for those models we have an enterprise subscription which guarantees that the data is not stored and it's processed only in Europe. So yeah, basically that was the way we approached that. So we did not really, for our custom solution, we did not really have a solution for masking personally identifiable information. We just made sure that they are not even present, this is not even present in the data set, right? And sorry, the second question was?
Yeah, so if you use like just one big agent, or it was more like agentic pattern or like a system of agents?
It was like there was this master agent, and it could orchestrate any number of sub-agents that it would find appropriate. So it could happen, for example, that there would be like 5 sub-agents running in parallel, each analyzing some different bits, and then the master agent would summarize everything together. This actually turned out to be the only viable pattern at the time, very least. because when you try to have just a single agent doing everything, it just doesn't work. It starts getting confused. There is too much information in the context window. It starts getting confused. So we have to split it into several subtasks.
Right. Any more questions?
Hey, 2 questions. Do you know the price of the question for the Databricks average? And the second, do you use some testing to guarantee some reliability of the agent or something?
Right, so the price for, you mean like the infrastructure in Databricks? Oh.
I will ask for the data and I will get some result. So what is the price of that?
The price, well, it depends.
Average.
Like in Databricks, for example, you only pay for compute, not for the tokens actually of the model, because the compute is more expensive. So their pricing model is that, well, the agent uses some cluster where it performs the analysis, and you are basically paying for the cluster, and whatever tokens it consumes for doing that is basically included in that price already, because it's just much higher than the price of the tokens, right?
The second test was testing.
Yeah, testing, a very important one actually. Again, for our custom agent, this was fully manual, basically. So we just ran different tests, and then a human had to look at the test and then try to modify the prompts, for example. For Databricks, they have a specific SDK or interface for that, where you can, where first of all users can give feedback, so you receive thumbs up and thumbs down, and you have also automated processes or automated AI agents that are capable of finding what's going wrong, right? It gets all the thumbs up, thumbs down, all the comments that the users have written, and then there is an automated agent, or you can schedule an agent that will go through all of that and try to identify what you should improve, like should you improve your semantic model, or should you change your wording in the prompt, or stuff like that, right? So that's already baked in for Databricks.
Thank you. Any more questions? Anyone? Does not seem like it. Oh, sorry. I haven't seen you there.
What were the main problems you faced during usage of Genie in Databricks?
Genie spaces?
Yes,
Yeah.
like this implementation, second one.
Well, one of the, I wouldn't call it a problem, but in a way the Genie spaces are really dumb, because the only thing that they can do is retrieve data. So what you do is you give it a specific instruction, and it retrieves the data based on that instruction, but they are not really good, like the Genie spaces themselves are not really good at analyzing the data, right? The Genie space cannot run, the agent in the Genie space cannot run Python, for example. It can only run SQL. It can show some charts, but that's about it. So what you really need is some logic on top of that. So what we are doing is a custom agent that's using the Genie spaces, the built-in agents in the Genie spaces, in order to retrieve the data. It then analyzes in a different way.
Thank you.
Right. Any more questions? Does not seem like it. In that case, thank you very much, Jakub.
Thank you.
So, let's have a short 10 or 15-minute break, and then we'll be joined by our panel, and the panel brings together experts from like every angle of AI possible. So we'll have organizational view, engineering, and business perspectives on AI adoption. So looking forward to that. And you can use the Slido link to ask any questions even before the panel starts. So thanks, and see you in 15 minutes. Right, so the panel discussion is starting in a moment. So if you would be so kind to calm down a bit, that'd be really lovely. Take your seats and welcome back. So, before we dive into the questions I've prepared for our panel, I would like to introduce the panel, the people who are joining us today, and ask them a bit about some context about themselves. So, first, we have Tomáš Mátl here, who is CEO of Colors of Data. Then, next to him, there's David, who you already know from the first talk. Joining as well is also Barbora, who is she's client success manager at Uplifting. Which, if you work in Uplifting, know that's not a great that's not like a real title. What I can say about Barbora is that she's and she doesn't want me to say that, but she's personality of AI personality of the year 2024. And last but not least, we have Tomáš Herman, which is an AI engineering lead from Uplifting. So welcome, everyone. And before I start with the questions, I would like you to go one by one and describe what you do for a living, because it gives some context to your perspective on AI, and answer first question, which is, do you have any estimate how long it will take for AI to replace your job? So, Tomáš, go ahead.
Good evening.
Sorry, I think it's muted.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be here, and thank you for coming in such a big crowd. My name is Tomáš Mátl. I'm founder and CEO of Colors of Data. So what I do for a living, Filip, is I'm trying to keep my team happy, and I'm trying to bring them enough projects so that we are busy. I set up the company almost 9 years ago in the UK, where I was living at the time. I was that frustrated business person who couldn't get hold of the data that would help me to do my job right. And I started fixing this for business people. So I was all about Tableau and other reporting tools, and that's how it all started, with data and analytics. And since then, we've expanded into building customer value for our clients, and into building AI solutions for other companies that automate how businesses work. As Jakub was describing a while ago. And will AI replace my job?
So sorry, the question was not if, but
when.
when.
Well, I hope I will still be able to run the company in 5 or 10 years if I don't retire. But I think I will do it in a completely different way. Yeah, I hope I will be able to just focus on ideas and guide AI in evaluating those ideas and giving me guidance how to execute on those that I will find the most viable.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. David, what's your job?
So I finished my degree last year, and since then I work on front end, back end. I help with workshops. I'm trying to get into presentations and other stuff. So universal developer, I would say. And how long it will take for AI to take my job? Maybe a year, and if it does, I will open maybe a cafe and go and build some cap in nature, and I will
Okay.
decide what to do after that.
So the second part of the question,
Yeah.
when will you be replaced with AI?
Well, I help AI to get into more corporation and to our clients. So I think the AI might leave taking my job for a bit. So I hope not soon, but who knows what happens next year.
Thank you. Barbora?
Yeah, I really liked when Tomáš said that he's trying to get projects so that his team is busy, because I do the very same at Uplifting. So I'm trying to get and find as many projects as possible so that Tomáš, for example, and his team are busy. So that's what I do in Uplifting. And besides Uplifting, I give AI trainings in companies and consultancies. So I'm very often discussing some ideas where AI would or would not make sense. Very often I'm trying to show to the clients that AI would not make sense in the case where they think it would. To the second question, I believe that if people want it, then actually AI could already now replace my job in a very good way. I have some plants, as David has as well. I have my own garden, so I'm planting some vegetables there, and I think that's my way how I am hoping to survive.
Thank you.
I came to Uplifting from academia background. I was doing research in particle physics, and the job that I applied to Uplifting didn't exist before AI, right? So thanks to AI, I actually have my job, because it only became real when LLMs became a thing. But funnily enough, I think like already when I started doing the job, the old way, people were writing code, right? And I was writing code for research, but that's way different, writing code for research than writing code for products or apps. And I didn't know the old way, so I just used the AI, which now is this AI-powered, or vibe coding, if you like it. But I think before I started doing the job, I was already replaced once, and now I feel like it's starting to happen again, because we write less and less code. And I like to think of it in a way that AI keeps doing things that we do manually, and we just keep iterating and evolving and finding new things that we can now do, because AI does some of the job that we have been doing so far. So I am looking at it optimistically. It's replacing me all the time, which means all the time I get to do new things.
Thank you, Tomáš. So now we know something about our panelists, and my first question is for Tomáš and Barbora. And we have heard David talk about how to teach team members to utilize AI in day-to-day work. So my question is, how do your companies do this?
Okay, I can start. Well, I would say that at Uplifting we combine all possible means that we have. That means the formal way, like giving a training to someone and really showing how to do it and with what tools to do it, but as well any informal ways that there are, and non-guided ways where we have different Uplifting channels or Slack channels, for example, where people can share the use cases and how they use it. We have regular AI lunches with David as well, for example, where we are exchanging any ideas and news about AI, because I believe that it's not only about the knowledge and it's not only about the skills that you know how to use AI tools, but that it's much more about the mindset. When I compare it, for example, I don't know, when you are building a house, and in the past there were only people with shovels and this stuff trying to do something, and now you bring all the super new equipment to them. In the first case, or in the first minute, what I think that is necessary to teach them is how to not only use it, but how to use it safely, so that they do not kill themselves in a creative or a less creative way. Then you need to show them like how they can be faster with the new equipment, which is where the AI training can help you very much. But still they need to know what they are actually building, like what is the purpose, what is the goal. And for this, I do not think that a formal training will help you, but where you need to work with the mindset of the people, where the mindset need to change when they need to accept that they are losing something, that they are losing the skills that they really liked. They need to unlearn this, and this is usually not happening in a one-day training, but you just need to give it a time and be the guardian on the way. They need to see some good examples. They need to see that the colleagues are coming with some other ideas. I'm very happy that we have Ráťa Kalenda, for example, for this, who is, I do not think that he has any limits in new ideas where to use AI.
Which might be good, might be bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, anyway, thank you very much, Tomáš. What are your thoughts?
Mm-hmm. I'd perhaps say that I regard AI training in like a broader sense. David was describing earlier how to do like real user training and so on. And that's critical. But for us, AI adoption is an ongoing process that needs to run on several levels, and it needs to be continuous. And those levels, to simplify, I would say there may be like 3 levels. The first level may be called AI activation. So people on a working level need to trust the AI, need to feel that there is a sense in them using it and perhaps changing their way how they work, changing the way how they think, and so on. The second level is, let's say, for middle management, we can call it AI process re-engineering, and that's where the real value for the clients we work with starts, because that's the real business transformation. The manual work is being eliminated, how company work internally is changing, and so on. And we need to talk to lots of people again to help them understand how AI can help them understand that they don't necessarily need to be replaced by AI, but AI just replaces the part of their work they hate, and so on. And finally, the third level is on like senior management or C-level level, where people or company owners or senior managers need to think of how to actually redefine the business model of their companies, or perhaps their proposition with the AI. Like, for example, how to replace their lone workers with automated credit mechanisms that run seamlessly on their own. So this all requires lots of discussions, lots of explanations, explaining and convincing, and needs to happen along the way when we work on the solutions. And then once all is done, process can start, which actually teaches people how to work with the solution specifically.
Mm-hmm. That was really interesting answer, especially the third level really rings close to home. Just like, is there anyone who thinks that their business is safe in terms of AI? They don't need to change their business plan. Anyone? Thought so. We are on the same page here. So
if yes, we would convince you the opposite.
Yeah, no worries. Anyway, David, so you heard these two approaches. Anything that's missing? Anything they could improve, those two companies?
Well, with our clients, I see that when we develop a solution for some automation of some boring stuff or other things for the company, we need to also teach the people how to use it well, because when they get the tools, they usually don't see how they can work faster without really knowing how it can be included into their workflows. So I also think that first is to develop something and then teach people how to use it well in their workflow work.
I see Bara wants to say something.
I very often want to say something. No, I just want to react to Tomáš and to David, because I believe that what AI is bringing us and what we need to focus on during the trainings as well is not only how to do the job that we're used to do with AI tools, but as well like what is the business value behind that. And I think in development teams it might be a little bit different, because there you are still trying to achieve some results that is based on definition of done and user stories and this kind of stuff. But in the other departments, that in our case is business, marketing, back office, HR, and so on, you really need to teach the people not only to try to do the same job that they were doing with AI, but much more think about the added value and what is the purpose, why we are doing this, what business value does it bring, and try to show them and teach them and change the mindset to using AI not only for the individual tasks, but to achieve the goal.
Thank you, Barbara. If we get back to David, from your experience, are both junior and senior level workers able to utilize AI in the same manner?
Well, I see a problematic thing with the juniors that will try to over-rely on the AI tools and not learn how they should or work with in their field, and also for the senior ones that they have some workflows they are used to and are fast with it, and to include AI tools into that. That means to get for a little while a bit worse, just to get to know these AI tools and how can leverage them in their workflows and get better.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Thank you. And keeping this difference in mind, what will be the consequences?
Well, for us, when we try to hire new people, new juniors, we saw problems with getting to know what is their skill level, because in these times it's easy to input to the models like the tasks and get one-shot solution. So for the junior ones, it's problematic to get to the work or to have the opportunity to try to work on their skills. And for these seniors to, if they keep on not using the AI or not fully utilizing in their work, there can be problem in days to come that the AI might take their position in their work or something like this.
Right. Any other thoughts on this topic? Tomáš, Bára, another Tomáš? No?
I would maybe add one thing. You asked, if I understood you right, you asked about the difference between AI adoption or training for seniors versus juniors. I think for the AI adoption success, it's critical that senior people really get their hands dirty with AI and what it actually should bring in the most specific terms. I've seen many, perhaps not many, but at least a dozen of really senior people who just wanted their teams to do the AI, but they didn't really care what it meant. They just needed to the box ticked, and that was it. And such project or initiative is actually destined to fail, because the best that can happen is that something is built, but it's then never used because there is no buy-in if the teams see that management actually doesn't set any direction. While CEOs who actually work actively on where is the biggest opportunity, quantify what it should bring in terms of, I don't know, revenue, number of customers, customer experience improvement, whatever, set the direction, and then people know what is the destination, and they figure out how to get to the destination.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, I just liked what David said about juniors overlying on the AI results and on the AI outputs, because I believe it actually goes hand in hand with the trainings that we were talking about previously, where the usual struggle that I'm facing is that the people and companies only want practical examples and see how and what prompts they should enter and how to make it work in the best way possible, they do not want to hear the theory. But when you do not know the theory, when you do not know how the models work, then you do not know how to think about the outputs in a more critical way and what to focus on and how to do it, not only in one specific case, but in general. And I believe, and I see this actually in the Czech Republic very often, that we are trying to find these shortcuts, and we believe that when we know the right prompts, that's the best shortcut that will bring us to the goal. But I do not think that's the right way. So I think when we are talking about the juniors, when we are talking about the trainings, that we should not forget about the theory and lay some solid ground to this as well.
Okay.
Yeah, for the juniors, I agree with you. It is tempting to just take the LLM output and call it a day, it's done. But that doesn't bring you any further, right? In the current era, when you are working with AI and you are coding, you are the reviewer. You need to understand the concepts, and you need to be able to quickly code review the AI output. You are the bottleneck. You are the slow one. AI can spit out code super fast. And the juniors nowadays, it is super hard because AI is also a great empowerer for learning. Like I love it. Getting new knowledge now with AI, it's great because it can compile web searches for you. It can give you quick intros. For the general stuff, it usually is correct, right? It knows the basics. And then for the advanced things, you need to dig deep into the sources to get down to the details. But starting a new skill with AI is super nice. But if you can the output with one prompt and then you don't have to think about it, that's easy, that's tempting. But you need to bring yourself to talk with the AI, like why, explain. I want to understand the concept, not just the code. And then you can evolve as a junior. But it requires immense internal power to not give in to the temptation of just having it done by AI.
Thank you. We'll leave the microphone with you because my next question is specifically for you. And that's that a lot of AI adoption is usually driven by FOMO. The clients want AI because they want AI. And should they somehow like prove that they are ready for it? Like, I don't know, like data-wise and infrastructure-wise and talent-wise, because you have to have capable people in the company, right?
Yeah. Well, definitely, but who do you prove it to, right? Who can forbid the company?
I mean, to you as a supplier.
I see. Well, I think it's hard to forbid a company to spend money on a new technology when they really want it, but they are risking throwing the money away and not getting any real value back, right? You want to be ready. You want to have the talent. You want to have the data. You want to have the infrastructure if it's needed. And I think what you need to do is when you are not ready, you need to realize you are not ready. That's the first step. And then you can invest into being ready. And that's great. Already we can work with that. You can get the talent. You find people in the company, they are always the early adopters, the AI ambassadors. You need to find them and work with them in the company. You can hire external talent, or you can find a company like Tix Heroes, and they can help you with that also. And once you have someone who understands the technology, and it's the same when you are bringing in any new technology, you need to analyze what you already have, the processes, and identify where the technology can help you the most. Like AI has weak spots, it has strong spots, and you need to use them wisely. And there are also like two streams that companies focus on, and sometimes they are mixed. But at least in my head, there are two separate streams. One is the internal one. So you have some processes. We are developers, so for us it's coding, but we have also back office. There are a ton of processes. And AI can help you with that. So you are a user who is searching for products that can speed you up, or they can somehow help you be more productive, bring more value to the company. And that's something that also the goalpost, it keeps moving, right? So what was possible last year, that's like ancient times in AI speak, right? Nowadays, the models are way more capable. The tooling around them is also evolving. So it's a continuous process. You keep looking for new stuff, you keep trying, and you keep evolving your approach. And then the other stream is you are building a product for your clients. And now it's either there is a new opportunity. Thanks to the new technology, you can build something new which hasn't been done before, and you have this new product built on the new technology. Or you have an existing product, it's working, it's great, but now with AI, it can do new things, or it can improve the way users are engaging with it. It can be a lot of things, and you also want to monitor that and keep improving your product, because if you don't, then somebody else probably is going to do that for you.
Thank you. So before we get to the next question I prepared, there are some questions on the slide I would like to look at. And one of them is, how do you guide clients wanting to add AI tools to replace people and lower costs when they need to understand or redesign their processes first? Because that's kind of similar thing. And you can answer, or someone else can.
If I can pick this up. Typically, our clients, when they start with the AI project, they have something like 20 to 30% savings on people in the objectives of the project. And that typically can be done, but what we try to argue is if they actually keep that headcount and use that headcount in a different way, the upside will be much, much bigger than the savings from actually letting those 20 to 30% people go. Yeah? Sometimes we are successful, sometimes we are not, but this is really how it works. Like, AI is bringing so much efficiency and so much creativity if it's done right, that it can shoot the company upwards very quickly.
I really like how you framed it, and it reminded me of a similar story, but not with employment, but with NVIDIA stocks. There was the release of DeepSeek, and everybody was like, they didn't need so many NVIDIA cards, and the stocks dropped rapidly. But it lasted only a few days before people realized you can actually compute way more. You can use a lot of more AI. And that doesn't mean that you don't need any more NVIDIA cards. You actually will use AI more, and that's with people, right? If you can empower people more, and you get rid of them, okay, your output stay the same. But if you can empower people and keep all of them or get more of them, your output multiplies. And I think with all the technological revolutions, there is some disruption to the market, but in the end, it's a transformative disruption. It takes some time, and some jobs may actually like stop existing, but new ones will appear, and people will adapt.
I had one client, for example, regarding this. It was not AI because it was ancient times, but I really liked what Tomáš said, and how it goes hand in hand with the processes here, because very often the clients are approaching us that they would like to have AI, that they would like to have any tool before AI, but it's not what they actually need. And I had one client where, for example, we are mapping the sales process, and the CEO was convinced that for every lead that they have, he is the one person in the company that needs to approve it, that needs to approve that the sales team is working on this lead or on this deal. And in this case, no AI will ever help you, because the bottleneck is not the tool, it's not the digitalization, it's just the person and the ego. And I believe that it's again about working with the mindset of the people, because not only the employees that are doing the manual job need to change something and need to adapt, but as well the management, who is very often convinced that they are right and that they need to do the stuff. These are the people that you need to convince too, that they should not only redesign the processes that the people are working in, but that they should redesign as well the processes that are affecting them.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Bara. Let's take another question from the Slido, and this one I feel might be a good match for Tomáš Herman or David, and that's what do you think will happen to the developer role? Will it evolve to be more like analysts that can code with AI? And what will happen to good old developers? And this question was submitted by a coworker of mine, so be gentle.
Well, I think in the future the role of developers will be the experts that will decide if the response of the AIs are usable, and maybe guide the AI tools to the path that will lead to the correct solution. So I think we will move to the man in the loop like state, and will provide the expertise to the models, because the models, even if now they are really good in what they are doing, we still need to have some check on the outputs, because when we deploy it, it goes to us if something bad happens with the code and other stuff.
So you are basically saying that developers will become code reviewers?
Yeah, a bit.
Thank you. Any other thoughts, anyone? Tomáš, maybe?
Yeah, I think right now we are mostly on that level. We are code reviewers mostly, but I think also AI can code review its own code, right? And but you definitely want to have some oversight. And in my mind, it is open. How far will this go if the code gets so good that we don't need to review it, and it is a solid code? Right now, it's not. But I don't know. In 5 years, who dares to bet how it's going to look like in 5 years? But there are some changes which can happen, right? So you still need some very deep experts. There will not be demand for a lot of them, but you will still need this one guy who knows everything about this thing, and this is still gonna exist. Then you will have more of people who are like you said, they are also the analysis on the analysis part. They are more shifting towards the product work, and they are encompassing like more and more stuff around the development process. And as this, I think, is the path that is ahead of us definitely, and there is a place for people like this. And I don't know, there are a lot of possibilities.
Okay, thank you. We have next question from Slido, specifically for Tomáš and Bara. So, which departments at your clients' teams typically see the greatest efficiency gains after implementing AI? Whenever you are ready.
I think it depends on use case, right? We always start with the long list of use cases, which are collected and discussed across the departments, and those are evaluated. And sometimes it also depends on the type of client. Yeah, so I can speak for retail and for production companies. For production companies, we do things around proactive maintenance or automated quality management. For retail, we do things around finance, management, and order automation. And those use cases have been those that the management of the clients figure out were bringing the most value or saving perhaps the most hassle to the current teams.
Thank you. Barbora?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it today for some reason. I like these building examples. So when you imagine that you would be building something like a skyscraper, it can be a great idea because you can accommodate many people, and the efficiencies and savings and I don't know what can seem very, very high. But on the other hand, when you do not have a solid ground, when you are building a skyscraper for, I don't know, in mud or something, it will most probably fall apart. So I do not think that it's a matter of department where you see the biggest efficiencies, but that it's much more about what is actually the starting line, what are the conditions in the company, and all of these criteria more than the department.
Mm-hmm. So it depends on the specific use case.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
I just realized I forgot one super important use case, and that's the testament that I'm actually also closing my own box. What is another super important use case across majority of B2C businesses is personalization, so that large corporations with millions of customers can actually understand their customers on an individual level and can like be super targeted or super knowledgeable about the context of their customers and able to react on their behavior patterns, needs, and so on. So that's perhaps, I would say, even number one use case.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So let's get to next question, and that one's for Tomáš and Tomáš. And I'm interested about starting AI projects, and I would like to know like how to do this in the best possible way from your business perspective and from your technical perspective. Who would like to start?
If I may, I would start because I really think it needs to start with the business. Unless you start with the business, you can't succeed. So at 100% of the cases we do or projects, we start with business discussions. And the higher up you start, the better the results typically are. As I said a while ago, those managers that want to get their hands dirty and think about it really deep are the best. So you need to set the goals for AI and for the project. You need to evaluate different options, and they need to have the AI strategy part of their business plan or part of their overall corporate strategy. Unless this is done, you may actually stall the project later on. So then, when this is done and when the executive sponsorship is secured, we can actually go into data assessment and architectural assessment, and that's perhaps where Tome you can take over.
Yeah, I definitely agree that we should start with the business. I would reiterate what you said, also setting it in the company level, and then also when we are talking about the specific project, setting the goals for the specific project. You want to make sure that you are ready, you have the data needed for that. You need a good definition of the scope, so it has to be clear what you are doing, and it has to be clear how you are measuring the success, what is the expected outcome, and how will you evaluate it. And you want this loop to be really short. You want to iterate quickly. So you start with small scope, and you test fast, so that when something doesn't work, you learn it in a couple of weeks or month, not in a couple of years. That would be a real waste. And the things that you need to incorporate to the project from the beginning is traceability and observability, so that you know what is happening under the hood. You need to be tracking that, evaluating that, and you also need to track it with time, so that when you are making changes, because you will make changes, you see if it's getting better, if it's getting worse, by how much. And sometimes with AI project this can be really tricky. So if you're lucky, the answers are sort of deterministic, or the problem is deterministic, and then the evolution pipeline can be set up quite straightforward. But with AI, you have a lot of chatbots, you have a lot of work with natural text, and then you have styles, you have preferences, and then it can get tricky. But there are ways of dealing with these issues. And so this is the readiness part, the scoping, the evaluation, and then if we go into the technical stuff, I think it was really nicely demonstrated in the talk from Jakub. You have these low-code / no-code solutions, and I'm not a huge fan. I think they are useful if you over the weekend want to validate some idea real quickly. You have no developer on hand, and it helps you get running fast. But as was said in the talk, you hit the limits quite soon. So I think the approach with selecting a good framework for the orchestration on the back end is a good one, because anyway you would be developing those concepts which exist, and there is a lot of frameworks, and all of them basically end up working with similar concepts. So you choose a nice one, and then the front end. We also follow the approach that was in the slides, right? For the first POC phase, you can use some SDK for the front end, like Streamlater, Gradio. Now we are using this thing called Nice GUI, and with this framework and this modular front end, you can build a proof of concept. And then when you go into the MVP stage, you replace it with a React front end or something. In this sense, and with this approach, you can actually scale quite far, and you can build large apps. But at some point, if you are scaling and building and realize you are building another Databricks, then probably it's a good thing to use the already existing multi-billion-dollar product and not try to build it yourself.
Exactly. If I may, one more thing,
Definitely.
which we learned quite recently. Pilots and proof of concepts are a great way to start and test the ideas, test if it works or not. But it's good. You have to avoid the proof of concept mayhem, as we can call it. There is a client with which we do lots of interesting things, but we now have like 6 different proof of concepts, and the client actually struggles to productize those proof of concepts, and it's not helping, because proof of concepts are great for testing the ideas, but they are not great for long-term value providing, right? So for us, it's a big lesson. One, the idea is proven and the solution works. Push hard for productization.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So my next question is for Bara, and that's what are some early signs that AI project or AI initiative is getting off the rails? Like when do you see problems?
Very often during the sales process already. So then it's on my head, sorry. No, but I have there several cases or several lessons learned that I think that we made. One of them goes hand in hand with what Tomáš was now saying, which is the POCs, because very often we see that the expectations on the client side are maybe not understood in the way we meant them. So the biggest lesson learned that we made was really repeating, what is a POC, what is the difference to an MVP, for example, that POC is not this very, very nice tool that will work all the time with everything, but it's really that the purpose is something different. Because when we feel that, and we feel that, or I felt that actually often, that we are talking about something and the client is not listening, then I think that's one of the red flags already during the process, where you should say, hey, okay, so stop, and now let's make sure that we know what we are talking about and that we know what is not in scope of the POC, for example. Yeah, because otherwise what can happen is, for example, that you discover that the client has the money for the POC, but the client does not have any budget for the further development, which means, okay, so you know that it will work, but you are not able to pay it. So that's not a nice thing. So expectation management is definitely regarding the business or maybe more human topics in this one of the signs. I think the other one as well is some change management, which is definitely for introduction of AI in the processes, and not only change management but as well the ownership, because you need to make sure that you have someone who really owns the process, who owns the data, who is the one responsible person. And if you face a company where no one is responsible for something, no one knows who handles a topic, then it's one of the red flags as well, that the project most probably will not succeed.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. If we'll get to next question, this one's a bit spicy for Tomáš. When AI hallucinates and causes some damage, who should be responsible? Is it like the user or the development team, the company, everyone, therefore no one?
It's always a human who is responsible, I'd say, or a company that is responsible. It's never AI. Yeah, so it depends on what problem that is.
AI wasn't one of the options. It's always a person. I'm asking who that person is.
Well, depending on a kind of hallucination, right? Like you can give a bad prompt and then it hallucinates, then it's your fault as a user. Or the model can be actually faulty and give you wrong answers or wrong results, and then the development company is at fault. Or the business result can be wrong. Like for example, there is a financial credit provided to someone who is not entitled, and then it's a company's fault. Yeah. Or if there is a breach of regulation, that's the same. So it depends on a problem, I would say.
Thank you. David, what is your thoughts on this topic? Like if you are making an AI workshop where you are teaching people to use AI, and then those people fuck up because AI did something wrong.
Yeah, so setting up the guardrails and the expectation, I would always say it's good to think how bad it can fuck up or mislead the original expectations. So always start with setting up what it should do and what it can't, what it shouldn't do, or where it can lead, and try to minimize the damage that it can make. So and in the workshops, we always teach the people to reread or design their solution or the prompts as that the result will not lead to anything they will not check or will pass to someone else without their expertise or guidance.
Thanks. So now the question I was really looking forward to, which is for Bára, and that's, well, if AI systems affect real people, which they do all the time, what ethical guardrails there are, and what ethical guardrails there should be. And I'm not talking about, yeah, we have AI Act, which requires you to fill out some paperwork, but like how to do this properly?
That's a very good question that I like as well, and I would say let us four as well talk about it or discuss how other people see it, because I think that of course you have now already some guardrails and some principles how responsible AI should be built and should be used, but on the other hand it's a new topic in the sense it has not been here since ages or since, I don't know, 150 years. but it's pretty new, and I believe that even for people it is something that we are learning and something that we are discovering. And regarding the guardrails that are already there, one of them is, for example, it's by Microsoft. Microsoft published seven principles of responsible AI. There are things like that Tomáš was talking about as well, explainability, that you should be always able to say like why or how did AI come to the result, what data was used there, how the algorithms are built, or what is running in the background, at least in some matter, because I know that it's becoming more and more complex and less explainable. So that's one thing, yeah, that we should know when AI tool decides that this patient should go for this treatment and the other patient should go for another one, like why did it decide in this way? That's the explainability. We were talking about the accountability, for example, like when AI hallucinates, when there is some mistake that happens because of AI, who is actually accountable for that? Who is or who bears the responsibility? The same goes for some bias mitigation, yeah, and it's not only for let's say data or historical data that was biased for some reason, but it's as well for some parts of the data that is not contained in the data that is used for the training, which very often we as people do not see because it does not even cross our minds. Yeah, so there are some guardrails. I do not think that they are finite, and I do not think that, or I'm not sure if you can actually create a list of them that would be somehow taxative. Because it's a very broad topic, yeah, and how I really like to think about it is maybe in these broader consequences. When you imagine, for example, an HR tool that would be used when, I don't know, imagine Amazon, for example, yeah, where you have these workers working in the warehouses, and now you are somehow measuring their performance, and you can have AI tools that will analyze the performance, see, for example, if it is changing in some time, make some predictions, and when the prediction goes, okay, so I believe that this worker will not improve sufficiently, so let's fire the employee. Well, will it bring some efficiency in the business matter? Maybe yes, but there will be so many consequences on the human being and on the human beings as such, and maybe on the whole town where Amazon is based or where this warehouse is based and so on, that this is something that I see, or where I think we should be seeing the ethical concerns, or we should have the ethical concerns as well. And for us, it's sometimes very, very difficult to imagine something like that. And that's one of the reasons why very often I say no to AI ideas, because for me it's not only about prompting and not only about the efficiency, but as well about, do we really want AI to do this stuff for us or instead of us? I do not know if someone wants to add something, or because I have so many ideas in this that I can talk for
any
for
other
hours.
strong opinions? Because otherwise I think it can be a great debate for the beer later, like we have until 10 p.m. or something. So.
I'm sleeping
Anyone?
here in the office today, so.
Okay, in that case, last thing, I would like you to share either one nice success story with AI, or, and I would be much happier about this, one nice fail story with AI. It's up to you, and I'll give you a minute to think, and in that minute, I'll read out the questions from Slido, and I want like 1 or 2 sentence answers for this. So, first one, how many apps approximately lifted with AI in app lifting? Anyone? How many apps approximately lifted with AI in app lifting? It's a strange question. I don't think you are the intended speaker.
I know at least about 3 where we used AI as the main tool, and we were able really to speed up the development very, very, very rapidly.
Okay, thanks. Next one is, who owns AI literacy? Is it the employer's duty to provide the training, or is it employees' responsibility to keep their skills relevant? Anyone? Go ahead.
Well, because there is some legislative for that. So if you have AI tools that your employees should work with, you are obliged to give them the training. That's given by law. But as well, I believe it's responsibility for both, not only for the employer.
Okay, thanks. Next one. What coding tools are worth the money? Cursor, Claude Code, Gemini, CLI, or something else? And by the way, just like 2 days ago, I've seen a friend of mine who's actually sitting right there, who's using like 3 of these, like Cursor, Gemini, CLI, and Claude Code in one workspace, and they just like race until one completes that task. So, any recommendations?
I really like Cursor. They have been one of the first tools, and I still think the user experience in there is great. But lately, with how they changed the token counting towards the limit of the usage, I think it's becoming really, really expensive. And Claude Code is gaining the edge for me because you can get a lot more for your dollar.
Thank you. Next one. How do you foresee career paths changing as AI replaces junior roles, potentially leading to lack of experienced senior people in the future? I mean, the question implies that the senior people will still be necessary in the future, which is extremely nice. So?
Maybe I'm thinking giving to juniors some options, some programs to test them and leverage their experiences. So maybe having more programs or workshops for these people to utilize the AI tools better than just offload the whole work for that.
Thank you. And last question on Slido is, currently AI is an amazing search engine. What other use cases do you think AI is great and reliable for? Anyone would like to answer that?
Yes, so for my work, I really like the deep research, either from the Google or the Perplexity or Anthropic. And I think it's really good to have also these sources that it draws from. So yeah, I think that's a good usage of the AI tools.
Is there any other usage anyone of you can think of?
I don't know. There is a lot, but the things it already uses in the web search, right? Whenever you need to summarize a text, or you need to extract interesting information from a text, or you need to transform a text, or the text can be replaced by the word code, and you can also apply to that.
Yeah, and
Now, I was laughing because I don't know if you know Dita Formankova, who founded Čekytas, and we were having this discussion like 2 weeks ago exactly. And what we agreed on is that first, many people still see AI as an advanced search engine, and second, that we see that the real use case is when you are not, let's say, the executor of the tasks, only doing it with AI, but something like an orchestrator of your own digital AI teams, where these AI assistants and agents are doing the work for you, and you are focusing only on delegating. And that's, for example, how I like to use AI, or at least the generative one.
Thank you. David, you wanted to add something?
yeah, I also like when I'm doing some integration for clients and want to research some documentation. So if this documentation have some AI chatbot that have the information about the docs, and I can ask them directly my questions and not to read through the whole thing. So I think that's pretty much a good thing.
Thanks. So you had some time to think. So now I want to hear your stories, and I either want some like real value we can appreciate here, or something really painful. So go ahead. I think Tomáš will solve it for you.
So I'll start. I had like last second change. First, I wanted to talk about a failure, but then when you asked about the real value, I'll talk about this collaboration with automotive company for whom we've implemented AI to automate quality control. And this was about actually collecting production data from the manufacturing and assembly process and evaluating the data to actually figure out what is the probability that the given car has some form of a problem. And then based on that evaluation, there is some triage of the cars, and the most risky batch goes to like a deep quality check and like a long test ride and so on. This has actually enabled the capture of the fault, which is 2 to 3 times higher than before when those checks were done manually, which saves time and money for the company and improves our experience as drivers.
Yeah, that's really lovely. Thanks. So who's next?
So we had the value. I will stick to the fails. So we had this one client. We had the intro and the discovery meetings, and they were like, "This is what we are doing," and we heard this AI is great thing, and we want to like make it AI do it. And we were like, sure. So we mapped what they were doing, and then we explained like, this is AI, this is how it works, and this is what it could do for you. And then we had some follow-up meetings. We clarified a bit. We proposed like a POC we can do for them. Right? We drafted the paperwork. We signed the contracts, and they're like, yeah, cool. This sounds great. And then we planned the kickoff workshop. And I remember coming to the client's place, and the start of the meeting, we clarified like what we're gonna need from you, so everything is smooth, and we keep working day one. And at that point, one of the stakeholders was like, wait, but that's not what we want. And internally I was like, fuck, what? We signed the contract already, like, what do you mean? But then we kept on discussing, and I don't know, for me everything was clear, but I guess during the kickoff it just clicked for him that what it actually means. It was a black box, and now he's probably started to understand the black box a bit better. And he said that's not what we want. And then during the kickoff meeting, we spent the entire time dedicated to the meeting brainstorming, okay, what is it that you actually want? What is the problem that fixing this will help you the most? And we brainstormed during the kickoff a completely new scope. We had to stay within the original budget of the POC, but we managed to find something which would be helpful for them. And we then did the POC, and the client was actually quite happy with the result, which I think was amazing for how it started. But it was a lesson learned on really taking your time, especially with stakeholders who are not that technical, being aligned that what you mean is what they understand, even if they signed it on paper already.
I can maybe continue because I had the very same client on my mind when I was thinking about the failure. Yeah, because, well, that was our common client, and when we were talking about these red flags or how you see that the project will fail, I think that there were like all of them. And Tomáš is very optimistic because in the end the client was happy with the POC, but of course my business a little bit more pessimistic view is that the client does not have any money for the MVP. So we know that POC is nice, but the MVP most probably will never happen. So regarding the expectation management, that's what Tomáš said, regarding making sure that you know like how much it will cost and making sure that you know how much money you are really able to invest, because return on investment is one thing, but still you need to have the money. That's something that you should definitely have in mind, on your mind.
Thanks. David?
Maybe from my side, I will share some reality check. And one time I tried to lower my AI CO2 footprint and offload all the usage of AI to my local models. which resulted into many crashes of system. So yeah, it's a short thing, but I think that gave me a bit reality check what I could expect from local models, where I can use them. So I mainly use them in cron jobs with like AI chat tool in CLI, and yeah. So that's.
And when was that?
AI chat, which
No,
is
sorry. When was that?
yeah,
Like,
about maybe 5 months ago.
yeah. I wonder if it changed since then. Anyway, thank you very much for those lovely stories. Thank you very much for answering all the questions, both mine and on the Slido. And well, thanks for being here. So now we have plenty of time to get something to drink, maybe some snacks, which still seem to be there. And yeah, enjoy your evening. And if you have any more questions, do not hesitate to approach the panelists. And I think Jakub is also somewhere here. Yeah, right there in the back. So let's talk about AI. Thank you.